So it's got no brakes?
No. It's got an emergency brake.
You drove it here on the emergency brake?
Yeah, because you can push down on it and it won't, you know, it won't stay engaged.
Okay.
But as soon as you want to drive.
Okay. So,
I mean, if you want to, I can take you in the lot and show you that.
You'll run through the gears individually?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't want to drive a car with no brakes. That's a big liability, and neither one of us want that trouble. The brake lights on. As far as gauges working, the amp gauge is grounded out, but the rest of the gauges appear to be working?
Yeah. The
gas gauge looks like it's below empty.
The gas gauge is empty.
Yep. Empty because it's out of gas?
Yeah. I highly doubt there's hardly anything there. We can run it to the gas or the pump back there.
How long has the car been running?
About 5 minutes.
Okay. So oil pressure looks like it's at 40%?
About 50.
Been running 5 minutes. The temp gauge isn't coming up though at all?
Yeah, temp gauge is up. It's almost to the, you know, where the normal, it's right there. It's about here. Just stop there.
Yeah. Jason Phillips from Auto Appraise over at Bolo Auto Museum, checking out a car. 1960 Chrysler. 300. Gas gauge looks, well, it's either out of gas or it's not working. Amp gauge is pegged out. Tachometer is working. I don't see any motion in the oil pressure gauge. Let's just hold it still for a minute. There we go, little motion. And then the temp gauge, we'll watch that. I'll check that with the digital meter. The blower's working, the wipers are working. The brakes on the car are shot. Pedal to the floor. It was driven here from a distant shop. I've been waiting in the car a little over an hour, and they're using the parking brake to actually drive it around the parking lot. I'm not going to drive it today. Car's showing 85,562 miles. Interior lights are working. Looks like they had some trouble getting it started. The air cleaner lids are off. Let's peek around this thing. It's a 300F convertible. They didn't make too many of these things. A little over a couple hundred of them. I think it was about a 375 horse dual quad car. 413 Ram. 300F. It looks like it's in restorable condition. Haven't gotten up underneath it yet, but we're just about to do that. The engine seems to run okay. Show you a little more when we get her up in the air. The car has an internal hood release. There's a bit of smoke coming off the motor. I'm guessing, I don't know if you can see that or not. Could be oil seepage down onto the exhaust manifolds. Could be a little blow by, hard to tell. Sitting at about 202 degrees right now. It's been running probably 8-9 minutes. Fairly original engine bay. Unrestored firewall. Didn't see any evidence of collision damage up here where the core support comes together with the inner fenders. Front upper tie bar looked nice and straight. Rechecking the factory temp gauge, and it's sitting down pretty low. I'm going to guess that this sending unit is inaccurate. Probably at 200 degrees we should be a little higher up in the gauge. We'll come and take a peek at that one more time before I shut the car off in about 5 or 10 minutes. Driver's side windows are original, passenger and driver's door, and they are activating a bit slow. Got some crackling coming out of the radio, so it is lighting up. Heating controls are sliding freely. Buttons need a little work, but they're pushing. A little bit of noise, no movement out of the clock yet. Horn's operational. Pretty good looking interior for 85,000 miles. battery was apparently low. Must have required a jump. I'm not going to shut it off yet because I want to make sure we can still get it fired back up shortly. So while we're letting the car warm up, some of the interior aluminum trim has typical heel scratches from where heels have passed on it over the years. The car looks to be a very complete car, that's for sure. Door cording certainly needs restoration effort. Door panel you saw a little earlier needs some restoration effort. Door corners are very nice on this side. Driver's seat wear looks fairly aged appropriately. That being said, it shows significant age. Power controls moving forward and backward as they should. Okay, I was afraid it might not restart if I did that. So
no, that's good.
Okay. Okay. Grab one more temperature reading. They just shut it off. 214. Yep. A little bit of smoke. Some of that smoke is breathing, so I'm going to guess there's a little bit of blow-by happening. That cross ram setup is sweet, though. Very cool. Definitely a rare option. Got an aftermarket battery in there. I'm not going to be able to check the coolant as I had hoped. Original Chrysler Corporation generator. OEM power brakes and power steering unit. The dual Carter AFBs. Those look pretty original. No apparent rot or decay really down in the inner fenders or the splashes to speak of. Let's take a look at them from underneath. Actually, before I get the car up in the air, I'm getting ahead of myself. I want to check out the rest of this interior. These are swivel seats. Isn't that cool? Lock in place as they should. Power brake pedal wear worn on the corner. I would say that looks like sufficient wear for 80,000-90,000 mile car. Plastic coated kick panels, they're showing some age. All original wiring and the fuse block there. That looks pretty clean. The dome is in really nice shape. You don't really see any age cracks to speak of in that. It looks real nice. Steering wheel is very well maintained. That acrylic lucite may be a more proper term for it. The center trim is still in really nice shape. This brushed aluminum trim on the dash is in fairly well survived shape. Power antenna, you can hear it working back there, wanting to work. Power to the motor. Our courtesy lights are off. Okay, we got action on the rear courtesy lights. We saw the wipers working earlier. And we got action on the map light switch here on the side of the console. Or I'm sorry, side of the speedometer housing. The dash pad is well warped, and that one's ready to have a little restoration work done on it. Back seats are in slightly better shape. Look like they've been cleaned up recently. This one's been scrubbed on a bit. There was some mold and deterioration. Some cracking in the side panels. But what you'd expect probably from an original leather interior that's been sitting around since 1960. Alright, dying to get into this car. But before we do, some original paperwork. I'm going to go through original book on the 300F. Clean glove box, it's operational. Going to do a quick walk around of the car, close the hood. Summarizing up the body real quick, we've had some previous touch-up work, maybe a little damage in here. We got a true reading of a paint thickness of about 5.5 back above the wheel lip. Here we're lacking some reading. Likely we've got some primer and or filler buildup in this area. No reading there. 9.0, 11.5. Remember, these were all shot by hand, so the presentation actually looks like all original lacquer checking or crow's feet or whatever you would like to refer to that at depending on where you're at in the country. I'm up against a wall, so I'm having a hard time giving you a very good visual reference with any distance, but I'm going to guess that most, if not all, of this is pretty original paint based on the mill thickness readings being 4, 5, 6. Not much room there for repaints. 7 and 8. 2.5, well, that's low. Not unusual. 1.5. It's real low. 1.5. We got some along this center molding. We got some door dings in there. You can probably make out pretty well. I don't see any significant signs or any signs really of overspray on that upper convertible top molding or along these belt moldings. So no indication really of repaint work on some of the tougher spots to de-trim before one would paint. There's some stage 1 patina on here. Some of that's wiping off. A little bit of pitting up here. Some of that's wiping down. Probably would have been a nice idea to clean this car up before I got here, but you know, some of this patina is not permanent. Some heavy polishing with some others might remedy that. The car is definitely due for a paint job. You can see pretty much every panel has some popping and cracking and deterioration from the rockers on up. These original door handles, these will clean up pretty nice. Would like to have seen these clean. These 300 emblems do have some actual pimple type pitting on the top, so we'll call that stage 1 pitting. Some door dings, door dings, door dings. I'll bet those aren't easy to come by. Some pitting on the inside lettering. I'll spare you all the readings, but back here in the corner, 4.5, 2.0. We're back in the 20s on this corner of the vehicle. Perhaps a little color differentiation between the deck lid and the corner of the car. Possible evidence of some prior repaint work on the body, although it could be lazy wax removal. Kind of looks like paint though. Again, lacquer checking is prominent throughout the vehicle's paint. Stage 2 pitting on this. License plate surround. Chrome is lifting significantly on the bumper, and certainly some black dot pitting and stage 1 pitting on these reverse lights and bumper ends. Bumper itself fits the body nice and is fairly straight. It's a little bit away from the body on this corner. You can see where the bumper got shoved into the body at some point there, so a little bit of collision damage evident, not too hard. Comparatively, the bumper is a little tighter on this side of the body. Both taillight lenses are actually in very nice shape. No spider checking or cracking, and the chrome bezels are very well survived. Really nothing to complain about there. A little bit of pitting on the upward surfaces, stage 1 we'll call that. A little bit of paint fade on the original back of that 300 cap bezel. We definitely have overspray left over from the 60s on that lock cylinder. As I mentioned, some previous repaint work on this side.
238, please. Car sales dial 238.
Readings are all very low on this quarter panel. 1.0 back at the corner up to 4.0, and so evidence of all original paint. 3.5.
Sales on line 2, sales line 2.
Not getting an actual reading there. 2.0. 7 on the rocker. A little bit of discoloration between that door and that quarter. But I think anybody who would be seriously considering this car would be looking at it as a repaint project. 1.0 to 5.0 up on the fenders. And just some general deterioration and age throughout. With a good spit, clean, and polish, you might pass it off as week number 4 condition to cruise in. Structurally lifting on this door, the whole car moves. Not much bushing play at all. Pretty impressive. I bet this door closes real nice. I didn't even need to push it that hard. Right side door's got a little bit of bushing fatigue, a little bit of where I can lift on that, but the corner of the door is real nice. So are the jambs. Nothing to complain about age-related wise. You saw that a little earlier. Seat backs have survived pretty well. Power windows I didn't mention earlier were in-op on this side. I'm going to try them again with the key on from the switches on this side. These rubber seals are still supple so far. They've got some cracks and deterioration, you know, where they're split, but I bet one might be hard-pressed to find those. No real scratches in the side glass to speak of. Just a little patina on the frame. Visual evidence of factory spot welds here are real nice, and the inner wheel splashes. I'll turn that sideways. Original plug still in there, a little bit of surface rust, but no signs of heavy decay. Spot welds there. Really nice. Same goes for this side. This overlap wasn't quite as uniform, but sometimes they weren't in 1960. But the lips are certainly visibly clean and not deteriorated. Real good sign. Plug in the wheel opening again as it should be. Get one more distant view of it before we send it up on the hoist. Feel free to hit your pause button so you can still that image. We've also got a couple hundred still images of the car, by the way, but it's easier to watch it this way.
Beautiful car.
Chrysler badge is probably the worst pitting on the whole car. Stage 2, I would say. Well, just finished up an underbody inspection. Let me walk you through the park here so you're seeing what I'm seeing. First of all, it's completely bone stock and original. There's been a chain here and here at one time pulled back. Probably had something to do with that bumper getting tonked in the back end here. But not horrific damage. You can see all along this tail panel support. It's not wadded up or crushed in. Who knows how hard of a punch it took, but nothing disastrous, that's for sure. Doesn't really even look like the gas tank's been out of the car. These springs have lost their arch from carrying around 10,000 pounds of steel. Don't know what it really weighs, but back here the quarter panel splashes. They're fabulous. The original drain plugs are present. No indication of rot or separation or issues. I know you don't see as well as I do because I can turn that flashlight back on. That'll help you, won't it? See, real nice along in there. All that original sound deadener put on years ago. These are original quarter panel tabs. There's 3 of them, and those fold up and kind of hold the. During production, they steady the inner quarter panel to the outer rocker. Alignment tabs really is what they are. And you can see these leaf springs again. These are well worn, need to be rebushed and re-arched. Same issue, I wouldn't say issue, same condition over here, which is nothing to worry about. All super solid. Frame rails in good shape. They were heavily sound deadened. I would doubt that the shocks have even ever been changed on this car. These splashes we showed you from up top, but again, this pinch weld's really clean. Up here where mud would get thrown and stick and then decay this area, that has not happened. It has not happened, my friend. Jason Phillips from Appraise, 800-301-3886. I'm out in Illinois today Checking out a very cool Chrysler 300 convertible. Floor pans are definitely stout and stable. I went through the whole underbody while I was off camera and out of sight from the seller, pounding on their floors. My fist did not go through, and the car looks just like this, front to rear, with no really anything hidden. Original fuel lines, original brake lines, original clips. None of this suspension appears to have been rebuilt. Definitely needs some rubber bushing and deterioration work. Backing plates have never been restored. Original drums with the springs around them. I dare say there's much, if anything, that's been changed on this car. A little bit of antifreeze leaking out the bottom of the hose connection or the radiator. I don't see it on the, oops, there it is. I don't see it on the hose, so probably coming out of the radiator. We got oil weeping, of course. Pan's wet, tranny pan's wet. Got oil coming down the side of the block, both sides. And it is a greasy mess. This car needs about a 4-hour long degreasing bath. Inner fenders look really solid up there. Anyway, no issues underneath this car. If I droned on long enough about it, if you're the one looking at this car, then you've seen what I have seen to make your own assessment. No real dips or bends in these rails. No diamonds up here in these rails. No evidence of hook marks where you would have grabbed it with a chain if you were going to yank it around. So bumper brackets look original. That exhaust is old. Not original, but old. And that's the underbody of this Chrysler 300F convertible. These old Uniroyals got a little coat of clean on them, but they got dry cracks in the sidewalls, and the front suspension's definitely worn out. You got inner tread wear almost down to the cord on this tire. Passenger side not looking so bad. A little bit of inner wear, not as much as the other side, but definitely the dry rotting issue. Those will need to be changed. These spoke wheels are still in pretty good shape. A little bit of pitting on the centers there, and a little bit of pitting in various locations. Pretty good shape. Those are 15-inch wheels, by the way. Bottoms of the rockers still have some factory undercoat or recently applied undercoat. Not recently applied undercoat. Really nice original spot welds again, in case I didn't mention that 10 times. Somebody's touched up this rocker and repainted it. Spray can, I'm guessing. Factory overlap seam where the quarter hits the rocker. Doors still fit pretty nice. No evidence of real sag in the body. Doors close really nice for the weight of this car. There you have it, a 3-hour inspection and photos, narrated in to about 23 minutes of commentary, made to bore you. If you need boring inspection service like this, give us a call. Jason Phillips from Auto Appraise. Beautiful day in Illinois today, checking out this fabulous 1960 very restorable Chrysler 300F convertible 413 Cross Ram car. And it's a car you could spend some money on. I didn't say much about that front bumper earlier, but it's definitely a good piece. A little bit of waviness, a little bit of ding action in it, but I think it could be straightened up and replated. The plating's not horrible on it in the condition it's in. Grill's in nice shape. May have had some touch-up work in the past. Headlight bezels have some stage 1 pitting on them. But if I talk any longer, I'm going to plug up the internet. 800-301-3886. Thanks for watching. 1960 Chrysler 300F convertible.